Welcome back to Creative Alternatives. Today we are exploring designing for the future of work. If you could see 10 years into the future, you might be shocked by how different your everyday working life looks. Not because the world has collapsed or become unrecognizable, but because the rules of work have shifted so dramatically that the office as you once knew it has almost vanished. The first thing to understand when designing for the future of work is that humans are not simply adapting to new tools. We are learning to inhabit an entirely new landscape where choice, flexibility, and constant change are not special perks, but the basic conditions of survival. This shift is not subtle. It is a tidal force that is reshaping the ways people learn, collaborate, and build professional identities. To design for this future, we must begin by understanding the psychological, emotional, and practical needs that will define it. For decades, workplaces were designed around a physical center. The office was a container that held everything work required. Communication equipment, documents, and colleagues all lived within reach. That world is now dissolving. People are no longer tied to a single location. Teams are spread across continents, and increasingly intelligent tools reduce the need for proximity. The new center of work is not a place but a network of relationships and information streams. Designing for this environment demands a human-centered approach that acknowledges the complexity of distributed work. Technology alone cannot create belonging or maintain cohesion. People need spaces, routines, and cultural anchors that support trust and clarity even when they rarely occupy the same room. One of the biggest challenges in this new world is cognitive overload. When work was contained in a physical space, it naturally had boundaries. The commute signaled transition. The office created shared rhythms. Now those boundaries are fragile. Notifications spill into private hours. Tasks live on multiple platforms, meetings multiply without structure. Designing for the future must therefore involve creating psychological architecture that restores boundaries and fosters deep focus. This means building tools and environments that simplify rather than overwhelm. It means crafting workflows that respect attention as a scarce resource. It requires leaders to understand that productivity is no longer measured by visible busyness, but by the quality of outcomes. Another essential dimension is the changing nature of skills. The pace of technological evolution makes static knowledge less valuable. What matters now is adaptability, a willingness to learn, and the confidence to navigate unfamiliar problems. Designing for the future of work means designing for continuous learning. This includes integrating learning moments into daily routines rather than relegating them to occasional workshops. It means building systems that help people identify skill gaps and access resources at the exact moment they need them. It also means cultivating cultures where experimentation is encouraged and failure is treated as a natural part of growth. The emotional landscape of work is also transforming. A distributed workforce can easily drift into isolation. Without face-to-face interactions, trust can erode faster and misunderstandings can escalate more quickly. People begin to feel invisible or disconnected from the mission of the organization. To counter this, designers of the future workplace must focus on belonging. This does not simply mean scheduling more virtual social events. It involves creating authentic interpersonal rituals, curating moments of shared purpose, and ensuring that individuals feel seen, heard, and valued. Belonging is not a luxury. It is a foundation for creativity, resilience, and collaboration. The future of work also demands a new understanding of leadership. Command and control structures are weakening. People crave autonomy, flexibility, and meaningful work. Leaders must shift from managing tasks to shaping conditions. Their job is to remove friction, align intentions, and cultivate clarity. They must learn to communicate with transparency and empathy, especially when teams are fractured across distance. Above all, they must design environments where individuals can perform at their best without sacrificing well-being. Physical space still matters too, even in a world dominated by digital tools. When people gather, their environment influences energy, motivation, and creativity. Offices of the future must become purposeful destinations. Rather than default workplaces, they should function as hubs for collaboration, learning, and connection. They must spark imagination while supporting diverse working styles. They must feel inclusive and adaptable, able to accommodate different levels of stimulation and comfort. In this way, physical design becomes a strategic instrument rather than a static backdrop. Ultimately, designing for the future of work means embracing uncertainty with intention. It means crafting systems that are flexible enough to evolve and human enough to inspire. The future will not reward organizations that cling to outdated models. It will reward those that build environments where people can do their best thinking, connect meaningfully, and grow continuously. The world of work is being rewritten in real time, and those who design with imagination and empathy will shape its most successful chapters. The moment you realize that work is no longer a place you go, but something that flows through the rhythms of your day, everything about design changes. People no longer step into their professional identity at 9 in the morning and remove it at 5. Instead, their work life is woven into a complex pattern filled with transitions, breaks, interruptions, and shifting role. Designing for the future of work means recognizing this dynamic reality and shaping experiences that support the whole person, not just the worker they are during business hours. The systems we build must acknowledge that humans are juggling personal obligations, emotional states, and varying energy levels, all while navigating increasingly complex tasks. In this environment, the most effective designs are those that harmonize structure with freedom. One of the most important considerations is the technology ecosystem people rely on. Digital tools have multiplied faster than teams can adapt to them, and this explosion of platforms has created a fragmented landscape. When employees need 5 different applications simply to begin their day, friction becomes inevitable. Switching between tools erodes concentration. Inconsistencies create confusion. Misaligned interfaces add cognitive burden. To design for the future, we must shift from tool accumulation to tool orchestration. The focus should be on integration, simplicity, and coherence. Systems need to feel like a single ecosystem where information moves cleanly and where people understand how pieces fit together. In practice, this means prioritizing interoperability, minimizing unnecessary features, and creating experiences that feel intuitive to users at every level of digital fluency. At the same time, artificial intelligence is becoming woven into daily work in ways that will reshape behaviors and expectations. Many organizations still treat AI as a novelty or an add-on, but for the future of work, AI must become an invisible partner. The goal should not be to replace human judgment, but to enhance it. AI can handle repetitive tasks, identify patterns, and provide insights, but humans remain responsible for ethical decisions, creativity, and relationship building. Designing for this reality involves not only integrating AI seamlessly into workflows, but also building trust around its use. People need to understand how AI makes recommendations and what data it relies on. They need clarity about what decisions remain purely human. Transparency fosters confidence, and confidence leads to adoption that feels natural rather than forced. Flexibility has become a defining expectation of modern work, and it will only grow more important. Hybrid schedules, fluid roles, and non-traditional working hours require systems that adapt to individual preferences while supporting organizational goals. This balance is delicate. Too much rigidity and people feel restricted. Too much freedom and coordination collapses. Though, the key is to create designs that provide guardrails without eliminating autonomy. This might involve redefining the workday based on outcomes rather than hours. It can include giving teams the authority to choose their own collaboration patterns while aligning them with shared objectives. It also means building rituals that anchor team identity, such as weekly deep focus sessions or shared reflection moments. These rituals provide stability in environments that otherwise feel fluid. Another major dimension of future-focused design is the need for equitable experiences. As organizations adopt remote and hybrid structures, they risk creating gaps between those who work primarily from home and those who work on-site. Without careful design, remote workers may feel excluded from opportunities, informal interactions, or decision-making. To prevent this, organizations must intentionally craft experiences that ensure every voice is heard and every contributor has equal access to resources. This includes designing virtual meetings that encourage participation, building transparent communication channels, and ensuring performance evaluations reflect outcomes rather than visibility. Equity must be engineered into the system, left to chance. Wellbeing is also central to the design of tomorrow's work. Stress, burnout, and emotional fatigue are not temporary disruptions. They are structural challenges that require structural solutions. Designing for well-being means creating workflows that allow for recovery. It means designing tools that reduce interruptions rather than increase them. It also involves encouraging a culture where rest is not perceived as laziness but as necessary fuel for sustained performance. Future-ready organizations will design environments where mental health support is integrated, not isolated. They will normalize conversations about workload pressure and ensure employees feel safe voicing concerns. The future of work is also heavily influenced by the desire for meaning. People want to contribute to something larger than themselves. They want clarity about how their efforts connect to organizational purpose and societal impact. Designing for meaning involves crafting narratives and experiences that help individuals see the value of their contributions. It means ensuring leaders communicate purpose with authenticity. It also requires creating opportunities for employees to shape the future of the organization rather than simply follow directives. When people feel connected to purpose, they engage more deeply and innovate more boldly. Ultimately, designing for the future of work is an ongoing practice, not a one-time project. It requires continuous listening, experimentation, and iteration. The organizations that thrive will be those that view design as a living process shaped by the needs of real people navigating real challenges. The future is not something that arrives fully formed. It is something we co-create through thoughtful choices and human-centered design every single day. Imagine walking into a workplace where the boundaries between imagination, technology, and human potential feel almost invisible. A place where ideas move as fluidly as conversation, where people feel empowered to shape their roles, and where the tools around them seem to anticipate what they need before they even ask. This vision is not science fiction. It is the logical destination of the choices organizations are making today. Designing for the future of work is ultimately about designing for human possibility. It is an invitation to rethink not only how we work, but why we work and what kind of world we want our work to create. As we look ahead, the first major shift becomes clear. Work is no longer defined by linear career paths. The concept of progressing neatly from one role to a slightly more complex one is dissolving. Instead, careers are becoming flexible mosaics shaped by curiosity, opportunity, and constant reinvention. To support this evolution, organizations must design systems that allow employees to explore, grow, and pivot without friction. This means reimagining professional development as something continuous and self-directed. It means giving people the tools to map their skills, understand new possibilities, and pursue learning pathways that align with both personal interests and organizational needs. The future belongs to those who can adapt quickly and navigate change with confidence, and that confidence is built through design that empowers rather than confines. In this landscape, collaboration becomes more important than ever, but collaboration itself is transforming. It is no longer limited to scheduled meetings or shared office spaces. Instead, it is becoming fluid, emergent, and deeply tied to the ways people communicate in digital and physical environments. Designing for effective collaboration means creating systems that support multiple modes of interaction. Some conversations require rapid synchronous exchange. Others thrive when people have time to reflect. Some problems demand multidisciplinary thinking. Others benefit from smaller focus groups. The more nuanced the tools and environments we design, the more naturally teams can adapt their collaboration style to the task at hand. The future of work will also challenge organizations to think beyond efficiency. Efficiency promises speed, but creativity requires spaciousness. Innovation thrives when people have the freedom to explore ideas without fear of wasting time or making mistakes. To design for creativity, leaders must cultivate cultures that welcome experimentation. This involves creating environments where curiosity is rewarded, where unconventional thinking is encouraged, and where failure is reframed as learning. It requires structural support such as protected time for exploratory projects and shared spaces that ignite imagination. Creativity cannot be forced, but it can be nurtured through deliberate design. Another crucial dimension is the ethical responsibility that comes with designing future workplaces. As technology becomes more powerful and data more abundant, organizations must make thoughtful choices about how these tools are used. Privacy, transparency, and fairness must guide every decision. Employees need assurance that their data is handled responsibly, that automated systems operate with integrity, and that technology is used to elevate human work rather than devalue it. When organizations design with ethics at the core, they build trust, and trust is the foundation of every successful workplace. The future of work will also require a renewed emphasis on adaptability in organizational structure. Traditional hierarchies are proving too rigid for environments that change rapidly. Instead, companies must move toward more fluid structures where teams can form and dissolve as needed, and where decision-making is distributed rather than concentrated. Designing for adaptability involves creating clarity around goals while giving people the freedom to choose the best path forward. It means reducing bureaucratic friction and enabling individuals to take ownership of outcomes. Adaptive organizations are resilient organizations capable of navigating uncertainty while maintaining direction. Community will play an increasingly important role in future workplaces as well. People long for connection not only with their immediate team, but with a larger mission and with a shared sense of identity. Designing for community means crafting ritual shared experiences and opportunities for meaningful interaction. It may involve transforming physical spaces into hubs for celebration, learning, and storytelling. It requires designing digital spaces that feel alive and personal rather than transactional. When people feel part of a community, they bring more energy, creativity, and commitment to their work. Ultimately, the future of work will be defined by organizations that understand a simple truth. Work is fundamentally a human endeavor. Technology may accelerate tasks, but meaning comes from people. Design for the future must center on dignity, purpose, and agency. It must support the full spectrum of human experience, from deep focus to joyful collaboration, from personal growth to collective achievement. When we design workplaces that honor these needs, we create environments where individuals can thrive and organizations can evolve with intention and strength. The future of work is not something we must fear. It is something we have the power to shape. Through thoughtful design grounded in empathy, curiosity, and vision, we can build a world where work feels not like an obligation but an opportunity. This is the true promise of designing for the future of work.